Bongino delivers multiple power punches, knocks Mueller, Brennan, and the DOJ into disarray. By US4Trump.com. On Saturday, Dan Bongino appeared on Fox and Friends to discuss the latest developments surrounding former CIA Director John Brennan, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, and Bob Mueller's witch hunt on President Trump. As always, Dan was more than prepared and landed multiple high-energy swings while warning the president and the American people of the dangers that are to come if action isn't taken soon. Bongino started off by leveling John Brennan over his recent remarks to Bill Maher, suggesting Trump is causing division that could spill over into the streets. Dan responded by saying Brennan's remarks are worse than his treason talk about the president. Bongino said, "Spill into the streets? Are you serious? This is a constitutional republic, okay? We do our damage in the voting booths. We don't spill it into the streets and start attacking our neighbors. This is not a violent country. We don't do that. Why would you say something like that?" Bongino calls Brennan the worst of the worst and cites the spying scandal he commanded while heading the CIA. The former Secret Service agent then turned his attention on President Trump, recently putting Jeff Sessions and Rod Rosenstein in the hot seat in the recent Fox interview. Bongino warned that this investigation isn't going to stop, he claims. They're going to go after the president. They're going to go after his family. They're not investigating collusion. He said it's a tough call, but he thinks Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein should be fired now, and Sessions needs to go sometime after the midterms, and then that's when Bongino turned towards special counsel Mueller and gave him some attention. He said, "It's also time to strongly consider firing Bob Mueller. The special counsel investigation won't go anywhere, but let's get someone in there who can legitimately look at Russian collusion, which we know didn't happen, and put this thing to bed." Dan Bongino manhandles Brennan, Mueller, and the DOJ. It's time to fire Rosenstein. I think Sessions, after the midterms, it may be time to move on as well. With all due respect to the man, he's an honorable man. It's also time to strongly consider firing Bob Mueller. Well, Sessions being an honorable man, you don't know what dirt they have on Sessions in order for Sessions to be acting the way he does. So I'm not going to say that he's an honorable man, because I don't really appreciate what he's doing.
Dan, I mean, John Brennan, you'd think that after what happened last week or so, when even James Clapper was saying, I'm not a big fan of the president, but John Brennan's got a little far with this treason talk. You think he might go in a corner for a while and think about it. Instead, he's out there doubling down.
Ed, what really bothers me about that, I have to tell you, I think that sound there is even worse than his treason talk. Spill into the streets? Are you serious? This is a constitutional republic, okay? We do our damage in the voting booth. We don't spill it into the streets and start attacking our neighbors. This is not a violent country. We don't do that. Why would you even say something like that? And keep in mind, when this guy talks about division, Ed, we're talking about the same guy who was the puppet master for this entire spying scandal on the Trump team.
Right.
He exchanged information with foreign intelligence and then briefed Capitol Hill on some of that information, incentivizing the FBI to go after the Trump team. This guy's the worst of the worst.
Dave, let me connect a few dots and bring you back to where we started with Sessions, and that is, if you were advising the president, if you get rid of Sessions, Rod Rosenstein then becomes the acting attorney general. He, of course, has played a central role in all of this. What would you be advising the president to do?
Well, listen, there's some hard advice here, but this investigation's not going to stop. They're going to go after the president. They're going to go after his family. They are not investigating collusion. They are investigating you. It is time to fire Rosenstein. I think Sessions, after the midterms, it may be time to move on as well, with all due respect to the man. He's an honorable man. It's also time to strongly consider firing Bob Mueller. The special counsel investigation won't go anywhere, but let's get someone in there who can legitimately look at Russian collusion, which we know didn't happen, and put this thing to bed. I know these are hard choices, but you have to understand, if you're thinking for a minute this investigation is ever going to be fair or it's ever going to stop, you are wrong.
And how
the
about
next targets are going to get worse.
How about declassifying those documents? We're going to have you back to talk about that because the president could do that. Declassify the documents that they refuse to hand over to Congress.
Yeah, big decisions ahead. Dan Bongino this morning calling for Bob Mueller to be fired. We're going to get a lot of reaction from people later this morning on the program.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with Dan Bongino because Giuliani gave him a deadline, gave Mueller a deadline for September 7th not to interfere in the elections. And I said, you think Mueller's he cares to end it on September 7th? To turn in his report on this so-called Russian collusion? No. And Mueller is going to take it all the way to 2020, I bet you, if you let this guy go. I'm not kidding. I agree with Dan Bongino 100%. I totally agree. Love the Bongino's attitude and the way he speaks and the way he knows what's going on. He knows what's going on. And everything he said was absolutely correct about Brennan. Sessions, okay. Honorable man, I don't think so, but I'll go along with that for now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.